right, fourth graders, before we talk about metamorphic rocks, let's talk about the rock cycle and all three different types of rocks, okay? So when we talk about the rock cycle, we talk about the Earth's surface, and underneath the Earth's surface is the mantle, and this is where there's magma, okay? Magma, it's that hot molten rock just underneath the surface of the Earth. And some places on the surface of the Earth, that magma has come up through the surface, all right? And it has formed a volcano and become lava, right? That lava cools and it becomes an igneous rock. Rocks from fire, right? We talked about igneous rocks last week. Sometimes that hot magma even cools inside the Earth's crust. Remember, intrusive igneous rocks form underneath the Earth's crust when that magma cools and becomes a rock, an igneous rock, underneath the surface of the Earth. Extrusive igneous rocks is when the lava comes out of the Earth's surface and cools. So that's how we get those igneous rocks. Then also on the surface of the Earth, we have things like, trees and the like. And we also have things like rivers and oceans, large bodies of water, okay? On Earth, we have weather, rain, wind, snow, ice, hail. That weather can break off little pieces of rock, okay? It weathers the rock. When ice goes into cracks and it freezes, water expands when it freezes and it cracks that rock. Can you believe that? Something just as simple as water and ice can crack huge boulders, okay? And breaks it down into smaller and smaller pieces. Sometimes those small pieces of rock get carried away by a river into an ocean or a lake or just the bottom of a riverbed, and it forms layers, okay? So if we were to look at what it looks like, here's a lake surface, and underneath the surface of the lake, those little bits of rock float in on a river and settle down at the bottom. And then there's another huge rainstorm and more rock is weathered and it comes in and settles down at the bottom. Layer upon layer of sediment. Sediment is those little bits and pieces of things that settle down at the bottom of water, and it could contain plants. It could contain remnants of animals. That's how we get fossils, right? A leaf floats down and settles in one of these layers, and then more sediment on top of it. Then over time, as those layers build, it becomes heavier and heavier on top, and it presses it together, and then we have sedimentary rock, okay? So that's where sedimentary rock comes from. We have igneous rocks that come from cooling magma and lava. We have sedimentary rock that comes from that weathered rock that breaks down and then settles at the bottom of water and gets pressed into sedimentary rock. And then we have metamorphic rock. That means rock that has changed. Metamorphic rock may have been an igneous rock, may have been a sedimentary rock, may have been another metamorphic rock. And then underneath the Earth's surface, it goes through a change because of heat and pressure. Now, how does it get under the Earth's surface? Well, igneous rock may have formed underneath the Earth's surface already, right? Intrusive igneous rock never came to the surface. It's under here and it is hardened into a rock and it can stay under the Earth's surface and go through that metamorphic change by the heat and pressure underneath the Earth's surface. Other igneous rock that has come out onto the surface, or sedimentary rock, which by nature has been formed on the surface of the Earth, can be inducted, can become under the Earth because we've got these tectonic plates on Earth. The Earth's surface isn't one solid surface, right? There's all these different plates that are floating on top of the mantle. And sometimes where those plates meet and they start to push together, some of that goes underneath the Earth again. One plate goes on top of the other, and some of that was on the surface of the Earth is now pressed underneath the Earth. Sometimes mountains form, okay? So where those tectonic plates meet, sometimes parts that were on the surface of the Earth then get pressed underneath the surface of the Earth. And that is how sedimentary rock can get underneath the surface of the Earth and go through those changes of heat and pressure and become metamorphic, as well as extrusive igneous rock can again be pressed underneath the surface of the Earth and go through a metamorphic change. So that's how we get our three different types of rock. We've got igneous rock, rocks from fire, either intrusive that become rock underneath the Earth's surface, or extrusive when lava comes out of a volcano and it hardens into a rock. We have igneous rock. We have sedimentary rock. That's when, through the weathering process, rocks are broken down into little bits, as well as pieces of plants and skeletons from animals. Go traveling down through water and then settle at the bottom of some water, and those layers over time are pressed into rock. That's where we get our sedimentary rock. And then we have metamorphic rock, and metamorphic rock they also form underneath the Earth's crust, and that's when an existing igneous rock, sedimentary rock, or even another metamorphic rock undergoes change inside the Earth due to the extreme heat and pressure.